Hey guys, welcome back to Leah's Lifestyle, and today we're doing another coding practice, so let's get to it! We're gonna start off where we left yesterday on the same website. We'll be using that freecodecamp.org. I'm going to be doing the next section that I was doing, whatever that is. I don't really know, but we will we're gonna get there. All right, we're so close, we're doing it, it's functioning, it's working. I think we can do it. Let me just I'm gonna need to view. Gotta turn off the music because I'm gonna have to view the chat on my phone. There we go. Turn down the volume so I can hear it, but keep everything here so I can see it. So when someone chats, I'll be able to say, "Oh hey, oh hey, oh hey." All right. Bring up. Alrighty then. Are you ready, kids? Aye, Captain. Oh, let's learn some more coding from Free Coding Camp. Aye. Okay.
Now that we've worked through the core skills in this unit, let's look through some extra problems, and I'm going to work through extra problems using the CoLab notebook, so you can see how you can apply these resources that you're building and use these to solve problems that might come up in a textbook or in day-to-day life. So we're going to go through some more extra problems here. So let's talk about more ways to graph and more things we can do with the graph.
Oh, hold on. I need to bring up my... There we go. Okay. All right. It says, what Python library will you import to create arrays that you can graph? I don't know. Okay, let's go on.
So we want to be able to display our data, our functions. So we did look already at how we can loop through inputs. I can define my graph, and we already did this, the x min and max, y min and max. And we talked about how we can loop through. I get x in a range, and then each time I'm going to plug this in and plot that value. And that's the idea of a function. That each time I get an x value in this range, plug it in for y, plug it in here, get y, and I plot that xy point, in this case as a red dot. After doing all that, then we show the graph. But what if we didn't have to do a loop for our input? What if we could use an array? And we'll revisit this again in other units, but we have this numpy array, and it's not that long of a word, but it just seems to be the convention that we import it as np, and so you'll see a lot of examples throughout the internet that np.this or that. So that's what we're going to do. And again, defining x min, x max. So given this numpy array, here's what we're going to do. Then, given these values, I'm going to define how many points I want in my array. And in this case, it's going to be 2 times x min, max, min.
Okay, let me type this in real quick. Because he he added in here, it says import numpy as np. Okay, and then here he's adding points equals 2 times x max minus x min. Then he's also gonna add x equals np dot linspace x min x max points. Okay.
Minus x min. I feel like that's probably enough for our purposes, but that number 2, you can up that to 10 or whatever you want. And then we see, so then we want to make as many things dependent on these values as we can. That way, if that changes, if I change my window, everything else will change accordingly.
Right.
And I don't have to go through and find all these variables. So yeah, I get the full range times 2, so that's 2 points. You'll see that that's actually going to work out just fine. But you can always increase that. So now that I have many points, this is how I define my array of x values. And since I really am only using this once, I'm going to just call it x because that is my array of x values. And so numpy, we have np.linspace. So we have this function here, which is going to set up our array, space for linear graphing. So it takes the argument, where do I start, where do I end, and how many points do I add? So we say we just make all this dependent, and then I get my x value. So this saves us the time of having to do a loop. Python will do this for us. Here's all the graphs, and we're going to talk about how to change some of this stuff too in a minute. So now, I'll just I like to define my x value up there, right where I have number of points in the range. So I have my y value, and for our purposes here, we'll just call it, call it y equals. But you can graph multiple things on the same axis, and you can have y1, y2, whatever you like. So I just define this relatively simple linear function here. So then, when I plot, I'll plot x and y. And if you remember before, we were plotting x and y each as an array, in this case with only one element. But here, you see I define my x value as an array of x values, and therefore y becomes an array of y values. So I can just reference these variables x, y, because they each do represent an array. In this case, then I decided to make the line red, so I put it r in quotes.
Right.
So there we go. And when we graph this, then we can see I have my graph, and yeah, that looks about like that would be 2x plus 1 with the red line. All right, so let's talk about some other things we can customize here. Now, yes, R, G, B work well. I just have to put B for the blue line, R, G for green.
Okay.
And
G for
if I
green.
want it to be a black line, then I will put K.
Ooh, K for black.
So you see RGB, CMYK, those all work as simplified ways to define the color of the line. If you don't put anything, Python will actually assign a color to each line.
Okay.
And cycle through so that if you plot a few lines, they each get a different color.
Okay.
But if you really say, okay, I want it specifically to be this line for this color, you can define this. And
Right.
other than those major colors, you can actually just write in colors. Then,
Oh, pink? Really?
there's no one-letter abbreviation for pink, but if I want my line to be pink, I can write in the word. And I can't say, every color that will be acceptable here, but
Right.
it's going to be a bunch, If you want a line of a particular color, type it in and try it. And there we go. So we have all these different ways to define the color of the line. Because remember, this plot, when this plot graphs, the default is that it's a line.
Right.
So if I wanted it to be a point, then I would have to define these definitely not as an array, but as each an array of one value, and then the letter, but then something like O for a circle, or the caret for a triangle, or something like that.
Okay.
So, or a dash. So we can define if we just wanted it to be a point. We'll see that in a second here. So there we go. So we have our axis and our line. But we're not done customizing it. First of all, let's take a look at these tick marks. 0 and then every 2.5. Maybe I don't want it exactly like that. We'll change some of these things, and maybe this seems kind of blank. Maybe I want to see the grid lines. So here's some other things we can do. All right, I'm still going to import certainly Matplotlib library, but I'm also doing NumPy because we use that for some things for graphing. And same thing, I'll define the window up here and the x values based on that window. So for now, I'll keep this. The same axis. I just like blue, so we'll keep that. Now, notice when we do up here figure and axis, so the labels would be in the ax variable. So ax.set x label, ax.set y label, ax.set title. There we go, x values, y values, and sum graph. And
Wait.
I didn't mean that sum graph like whatever.
So we're adding in new stuff here. The ax set X label X value. Okay. And then I can do it again. X set Y label. Says Y value. And then axes set title. Some graph. That's great. Good one. Why does he have this? This says hashtag x dot grid. True? What does that mean? Configure the grid's lines. Visible, bool or none option. Whether to show the grid lines, if any quasars are supplied, it is assumed you want the grid on, and visible will be set to true. If visible is none and there's no course, the toggle the visible for the lines. Which, major and minor both, optional the grid lines to apply and change on. Axes, optional. The axis is applied to the changes on. Quargs, multi-pilot lib lines, lines 2D properties, define the line properties of the grid. Grid color R. Lines. Oh, I could change the color and stuff. Okay. I see what's happening. But it's just gonna keep it as is until, let's see, let's go back to this.
However, I meant more like, like from Charlotte's Web, some graph.
Some graph.
So,
some
anyway,
pig.
So we have these.
That's funny.
And I commented these out. We'll get to these later.
One true villain, top G. What's up? How you doing, friend? What are you doing? I'm learning how to code.
And I have a few other things here. So I still have one Y value, and then I'm going to plot that. Now notice this. I'm going to define this as a label. It can have a label rather than a color.
Wait.
But there's no color. I can also do a color.
Do you guys see this? It says x-axis sticks. Why did he do that? Did he say why he did that? I don't feel like I heard him. X ticket X NP arrange X-Men X-Max 2. Okay, so what is he saying?
But since I don't have one, we'll see what color Python assigns to us. And then I decide to plot a point. And in this case, it's red and C0. Red, or that's actually O, the lowercase o. So it's going to be a circular point. And then this one's going to have a label too. And I'm going to plot something else. Here's the same X values. And then notice I can define the Y value up here and then say Y right there. Or I can put the Y value in here directly. Either way, whichever you feel like doing, I wanted to show you the different options here. And again, we have this label also. So let's just take a look at the X label, the Y label, set X label.
Hold on. Let me finish typing in, buddy. Tell us about this line again, buddy.
The Y label and the title, and then we'll see these different lines. So there we go. And you know, we get a nice orange, a different shade of blue, and I define that as a red dot. So there we go. But what if, all right, so
Hold on. 3x times 3. It says this line here is it. Plot, dot plot, plt dot plot, xy, label equals y equals 2 x plus 1, yeah. So what's wrong with it? Trace back most recent cell last. I don't see anything wrong with it. XY space. They're both lowercase. Label? Unexpected keyword alignment? Is that really it? That's all that's wrong? This is whatever this... He didn't really explain that either, did he? Let's go back. A little more, apparently.
I still have one Y value, and then I'm going to plot that. Now notice this, I'm going to define this as a label. You know, it can have a label rather than the color, but notice no color. I can also do a color, but since I don't have one, we'll see what color Python assigns to us. And then I decide to plot a point, and in this case it's red and C0, red, or that's actually O, the lowercase o, so it's going to be a circular point, and then this one's going to have a label too. And I'm going to plot something else. Here's same X values, and then notice I can define the Y value up here, and then say Y right there, or I can put the Y value in here directly. Either way, whichever you feel like doing, I wanted to show you the different options here. And again, we have this label also. So let's just take a look at the X label, the Y label, set X label, Y label, and the title, and then we'll see these different lines. So there we go. And
but that didn't happen for me.
Nice orange, a different shade of blue, and I define that as a red dot. So there we go. But what if, all right, so
LAB. Oh, I spelt it wrong. That's what happens when you have dyslexia. Be a string or a real number, not set. Oh. There we go. Let's try that again. There we are. Fuck yeah, bitch.
What if I want the axis to show the grid? It looks kind of plain. What if I want to see the grid? So when I comment that out, and this one that is true with a capital T, it will actually show the grid lines. And you see it does line up to, what if I want to see the grid? So when I comment that out, and this one that is true with a capital T, it will actually show the grid lines. And you see it does line up to.
Wait, what?
The tick marks, these different lines. So there we go. And we get nice orange, a different shade of blue, and I define that as a red dot. So there we go. But what if, all right, so let's see. What if I want the axis to show the grid? It looks kind of plain. What if I want to see the grid? So when I comment that out, and this one, notice true is a capital T, it will actually show the grid lines. And you see it does line up to the tick marks that are already there.
No, I didn't see. What the fuck did you do?
All right, so let's see. What if I want the axis to show the grid? It looks kind of plain.
Oh, you got rid of this? Okay.
What if I want to see the grid? So when I comment that out, and this one, notice true is a capital T.
Why does the hashtag get rid of it?
It will actually show the grid lines. And you see it does line up to the tick marks that are already there.
Interesting.
2.5. But there we go. So if we want to see the grid lines, then we have this, and now we have our our labels. X values, Y values, some graph.
Yeah.
You could actually put the graph, and in one of the later units, we'll look at some details about how to even automatically, if I wanted to graph one line and have the title of the graph be that line. But you could always just type that in. Instead of some graph, you could actually just type that in as a string, the equation of the line. Okay, so let's take a look at NumPy again. And in this case, let's say the 2.5 in each direction is not really what I want. So again, we have x dot, and we're going to set x ticks and set y ticks.
Oh.
So setting these tick marks on each axis. So it's a different sort of array. I'm going to do num_np.arrange. And what do I want to arrange? Very similar to the way we did x values. I hit my minimum, my maximum, and then this is how often do I want a tick mark? Every 2 numbers. So that's what we're going to do from y min to y max. And you see again, basing it off of those original variables, if the window changes, then all this will update automatically. So there we go. So let's just take a look at that. Supposing I change the tick marks. And we see then now every 2. And maybe that's a little bit better instead of 2.5. And we see these, y min to y max. And you see again, different sort of, let's say the 2.5, instead of some graph, you could actually just type that in as a string, the equation of the line. Okay, so let's take a look at NumPy again. And in this case, let's say the 2.5.
Hold on. And we're back. It looks like we got 4 minutes of this left. And I still have this to figure out. But I kind of need to put this on a pause for a second because I'm going to leave and come back. So we will start here tomorrow. And this is just how far we got today. Okay. Alright guys, thank you so much for joining me today for my practice, and I will see you guys tomorrow at 2 o'clock for our second one, and I'll see you later today. I'll be back. Bye!